Welcome to this episode of the beloved Miracles Couples Project. Hello, Ken and Shannon Redman.
Hi.
Saying hi from Norway to St. Louis, Missouri area. Ken Redman, or as his friends call him, Coach, is a personal development life coach and trainer, a successful business owner among top income earners in 3 previous systems, and an inspiring motivational speaker. Shannon is an online business, marketing, and mindset coach. She's the founder of the premier business program, The Rise of Woman. She specializes in helping passion-driven women bring their skills to the world and develop thriving businesses with international reach. Together, they are committed ontological leadership, helping others to know their own greatness, making a difference on the planet, and impacting the lives of 1 billion women worldwide. So Ken and Shannon, where does your story of building together online with a system begin?
Well, I think it began, really when we met. So we just energetically saw something in each other where together we couldn't have accomplished on our own, or ourselves we couldn't accomplish them, but together we can reach something outside of ourselves. And it's been fun.
Yeah, so that's made me very fortunate that occurred that way.
Say more about that, Ken. Yeah, what was so fortunate for you?
Well, I was going along in life thinking that this was the way my life was going to be, like the way it had been for the last 40 years. And then all of a sudden, Shannon appeared and changed my life, really, and gave me something not just to live for, but in the process, we created and began to create more and more things together that make a difference for others. And that's who we are on the planet, really.
But it sounds like you were doing a little bit of that before you met as well. It's just that coming together took it to the next level?
Well, it wouldn't even be the next level. It'd be the next level times infinity. Much different than it was. My experience was in my life that I was kind of in a rut. I was certainly happy and fulfilled doing the things I was doing, but not to the degree that I am today. And I didn't know that it was missing, or that it could go or get that much better. It's been a real journey and an enlivening event, returning to youth again, if you will. When you're excited and passionate.
This is about this word love that we're referring, yeah?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, Shannon, you got to chime in here because you brought the magic. How does this love story, and would you guys even mind sharing, like, how did you cross paths? How did that happen?
Yes. So we were in a personal growth and development organization, and I was just beginning my journey in 2007, and he had been involved for quite a few years prior to that. And he actually was my coach at some point. So, through our journey, I'll speak to myself, I got present to what I was committed to. And it was something outside of me. And we began to live purpose-driven lives. And that's a unique way of being and a unique way of living. And when we first met, we were just friends, and 10 years we were friends. And one day I was like, I can't breathe without you. And so hence, he was creating projects in the world, and I was creating projects in the world, and our worlds collided.
Beautiful. Projects in the world, and systems, I'm sure, is part of that, with the internet and numerous other overlays of systems that affect us these days. Can you guys speak toward that? I mean, where do systems show up in your experience and your love story?
Oh, absolutely. So I had created a race. My first project really was a race, the Fun, Flirty, Fabulous 5 and 5 here in St. Louis. And I grew that through systems and online, particularly using social media. And what was attractive about it was I was putting out, like, from my commitment where I am empowering women and really creating a project to unite women in a movement revolution, right? And through that, we were contributing money the first year to build wells in Kenya, Africa. And the first year, in less than 90 days, this project was, we had over 600 participants. And we had sponsors like Whole Foods Sports Authority. I mean, it was just a massive undertaking. And it was all done through systems and all done through social media. And next, I created a women's networking organization here in St. Louis called Wise Women Connect. And I led that for over a year. And again, that was all built through social media and the power of uniting women in business and really coaching and training them to set their lives on fire, to unite together, alter business, and grow together as a community. And that was all done through systems. And then I applied it to my personal business. And the first year I grew $1 million business. And the second year I also grew $1 million business, but less work because of the systems that I had generated. And now we run multiple businesses online where people really have the opportunity to self-select themselves to work with us. So we have a system where, they participate, they can take a look. If they see something that calls to them, that they see something in us as leaders, that they want to play with us, they want to be with us, it sets up like your hearts can connect and they get to self-select. And then, it just moves them through the process. And by the end, most people are, tell me more, what are you doing? I want to play with you. And it really becomes fun. Like, we don't have to work with a ton of people. We get to work with the people that really want to work with us. And that's the beauty and the magic. And we have a huge calling. So we are calling to people that are, committed to impacting and altering the world, to live a balanced life, right? Health, wealth, mindset, spirituality. And the system really does all the work for us.
Wow. I mean, that is amazing. It's explosive. It reminds me just of all the fireworks that were going off recently for the start of a new year.
Yes.
And the way systems have allowed this to be, as you're mentioning, a bit more automated, a bit more self-selecting, I wrote down, you mentioned, a move revolution. Yeah,
yes.
Some definitely fireworks stuff there. And I'm curious now, Ken, where did systems in your thinking of them that way and your awareness of them, where did it show up for you originally, and what did it change?
Well, I've always been kind of a hands-on fella in front of audiences, driving or flying great distances to speak to people or to sit in a hotel room and do trainings and things like that in the personal development world. And of course, eventually that evolved into coaching, which was done primarily on the telephone. And certainly the fast food industry in the world is a prime example. You have the independent restaurant that might build a large connection with people over time, but they can't expand or duplicate that. A system allows someone like, if I can say McDonald's, not that that's an endorsement, but they were the first really to be able to hire 18 and 19-year-old people to run a multi-million-dollar franchise on the corner. And it was more about service and timing and price and lots of things. But the people who got attracted to that obviously were serviced in a way that they wanted the products. The key to getting all of that was it was the system of bells and whistles, I guess, on the inside of a fast food place. Where you drop the French fries, 3 minutes later, a bell goes off, and you take the French fries out, and they're done to perfection. Well, bringing that forward, if you can develop a system that in effect is already pre-recorded or written or whatever, so that people can attract to that and eventually get face-to-face time like we're having here today. Technology has taken us from literally the Stone Age of business and personal development into the fourth dimension, fifth dimension kind of life, where today we're talking to you thousands of miles away. The sun is setting in where you are, and it's well up until about 10 or so in the morning, 10 a.m. here. And that just wasn't possible until a few years ago. And it's no real awakening for people to recognize that online is where the world is moving. You have instant news, you have communication from around the world, almost in seconds of the time things are happening. So today we are welcomed in your home and yours in ours, and we do that all through technology. And so to put all that together is to put together a system that is step 1, 2, 3, to touch base and get people at least engaged. And beyond that, the engagement comes the training and development.
Yeah.
For those that
A
self-select.
smooth transition for you, or was it bumpy and difficult? And did you kind of fight and struggle with it to let go of the more old school on the telephone, face-to-face, as you said, traveling a lot? Or did you really welcome the more, what's the word, more simplistic maybe, or less, I don't know, it's like less for more, right? A system often allows us to do less, but if you're like me, you would almost struggle with that.
Well, the struggle is really about learning, like accepting, being open to contribution. Shannon, different from she is really the master of the computer and from the internet and so on. And it's not like she's not learning and self-taught and continues to grapple with things on a daily, weekly basis when it comes to the system itself. I, on the other hand, am the direct benefactor of learning as we've built this organization and the systems. Yeah. And it was struggling in the beginning. Anything new is worth failing at. Anything new is going to confront you some, and it's just a matter of pushing through it.
Fantastic. And then advice. What advice would you give to other couples choosing to build together in this way?
Well, of course, the first thing is when you have a vision, it doesn't mean that vision is concrete. It doesn't mean that you know how to do it. That's the very first thing to know. We started doing these things and learning in the process, but our overall vision, as Shannon stated, was to empower people, to cause people to get present to their own greatness. We all have that inner critic that's always running in our head. It's not us, by the way, it's just a noise in your head. But it always is saying you can't, you shouldn't, you don't risk, don't get uncomfortable. There's so much emphasis today on being comfortable. Well, if you're going to make a difference in the world, you're going to get uncomfortable occasionally. It's just the way it works. And we're called as human beings to progress or forward the game of life for other people. And that's what gives us life. That's what gives us our energy. That's what makes a difference for us, is when we see the differences we make for others. And we're just other people. We're not anything unique. We're ordinary, called to acting extraordinary. That's what we're called to do, and that's not always comfortable.
Shannon, what's that been like for you? And what advice would you offer, especially to the women?
Well, I think particularly I saw a shift in the marketplace. And see, again, our commitment never changed. Our commitment was what it was. And if you're aware, conscious of who you are on the planet, your tools and your leaders and your systems and your business opportunities kind of arise, right? And I was noticing a shift in the marketplace where business was changing. Networking belly to belly or that type of business was altering. People are buying online. And, I seized the opportunity, and it was like, how, universe, can we really, really impact 1 billion women? Like, what's it going to take? And we couldn't do it belly to belly. It takes a system. It takes online. And through systems that we've been able to establish, our contribution in the world has expanded, right? So we now support women in third world countries. We sponsor children. We do mission work. We, are able to contribute to local Christian radio stations here. Our philanthropy has expanded beyond what we could have even imagined. So it's very rewarding to be, on purpose, enlivened in life and making a difference for others. And with systems, it just begins to expand and be my coaching to other couples out there is one, have conversations about who you are individually and who it is you want to create together, and then really be on point, on purpose in life, right? It is beautiful. It is rewarding, and we get to share. And I think when people see our struggle, our journey, our growth, they get that they can do it too. So
you said it right.
Yeah.
That's why I called you guys to do this, because you and I had met not long ago. And then from that system overlapping, right? Systems overlapping, and you and I connect and meet. And then I learned more of you and Ken in St. Louis. And it was just a natural when we wanted to get a message out to couples that you guys were a couple who had gone through the trenches and were working these systems in a way that would allow you to fully express yourselves. And thank you. I don't know what else to say, but press on, because we absolutely support you. And I believe in even just a short little bit we've recorded of your story, there's great hope and inspiration. Any closing words that you guys would care to offer, especially to couples again, who, there's a question in the back of my mind as well, like, is it maybe more difficult often for the woman or for the man? In closing, could you guys say anything of your experience in that regard when you're advising other people?
Well, one of the differences, and you can read just about any book written anciently, but the world has been a man's world. It's been a man's world since time began, almost. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but the rise of women in the world, you actually can recognize it anywhere and everywhere. And women today are moving beyond the apron and the baby bottle and things like that. They're looking to grow and expand. And so we have it that all of the difference that it comes in the world is going to come for the change for the better, if you will. The changes are going to come from women. There's no question about it in our mind.
Yeah. And, I think as women, we learn different, we speak different, we hear differently. And so we are really committed to creating a safe space where women have the ability to, be themselves, be authentic. And through that, they get to arise into what they become committed for. And we are just listening for their greatness. And together, we can begin to impact and alter the world and really revolutionize the way business is done.
I love what you just said. They're listening for their greatness, right? I mean, truly, in the listening, people have an opportunity to show up in a way that if there's not listening, right, they very often are not able to show up because there's no listening for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
It's not necessarily, when you listen for another's greatness, it's not necessarily in what they say, it's in what's beneath what they're saying. And that
sounds like a whole other interview we should do right there, Ken.
Yeah. Well, when somebody says that family's important to them, right? What they're actually saying is they have an underlying commitment for love and affinity and nurturing and things like that, for success, for fulfillment, for satisfaction. That's the listening that's just under, family's important.
Brilliant. Thank you for touching on that. And I'm going to extend a request here publicly and ask if you guys will come back on again in a month or 6 months, a year, so that we can actually go a little more below the surface, because I think you just introduced it in what you just said. So will you guys come back on and we'll go another round on this?
Sure.
It'd be our pleasure. And Tim, we acknowledge you, really. You are extraordinary. We acknowledge your gratitude, your gratitude projects that you have out there, and this beloved couples project. You exude light, you exude love, and we totally get your commitment to impacting and altering the world, and ultimately raising the vibration of humanity. So Tim, we love you. Thank you so much for having us be on your show today.
You got the fireworks going again, Shannon. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, when we first met, we were in the company of people who really were inspired, right, by the heart. And in fact, the words come, the world needs a man's heart. Those words have been with me for a long time now. And, endlessly, as you said, Ken, how to question that. I'm 51 trips around the sun, and it's been different over the years. Like my father's example really didn't work well for me. And I had to forge my own road, and have been greatly misunderstood by a large number of people, especially in these areas of love like we're talking about. And then yet the system of the internet expanded my world to include Norway. I found my beloved in Norway. Aww. And when more of that story gets shared, you'll understand that that's really the driver behind what we're doing here. The lack of sharing, and simply as you guys have done, just sharing some story, sharing our experience, sometimes vulnerably, nakedly, being willing to tell others what it's like. The struggle I had as an expat in Norway, marrying a Viking Norwegian. I landed on a small rock on Trondheim Fjord of only 200 people, and the story goes on. And when we struggle, I think what I want to share through this little touch on my own story is that when we struggle, this is actually good news. And it took me years, and it damn near killed me, to be honest with you, this process. But the fact is, it's all good news. And the good news is that the richness, the depth, the breadth of a story that we all have to share from our difficulties, our struggles, is what this is about. And especially the inspiration and the hope, as you guys have shared here today. I could go on, and I think we should schedule this again soon, because your listening is helping pull out, even more of what it is I wish to share of my own experience. So it's just stories. And I really love how we have systems today that allow us to share our stories. So from Norway to St. Louis, Missouri, I'll close as I usually do with a simple little motto that really anchors it for me. And that is that together we overcome. So thank you so much from Norway.
Thank you.
Until next time, Ken and Shannon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.